Hello, first of all, my name is Victor. It's nice to meet you guys. Thank you so much for coming out. It's great to see all these faces. Give yourselves a round of applause. So, quick correction, I'm not a refugee. My parents came to Pitt to study. They were students, and they brought me and my sisters with them. I came here when I was 3 years old. My mom actually went to school here, taught here. My father went to school here, taught here. I grew up in the east side of Pittsburgh, right this way. I went to school right at Pittsburgh Sci Tech. I probably played soccer more on this lawn than some people who went to school here. But immigration has been a steady part of my life since I came here. And something I wanted to speak about was the identity crisis that a lot of us young ones have to face growing up with parents who are from a certain culture and being raised in the American culture and being too American to go home, being too Kenyan to be in America, and constantly having to swim in the waters of being by yourself. You know, constantly trying to fit in a space without having to shut out the American part of you, or live in an American space without having to shut out the Kenyan part of you. So I was under my father's visa, and he had to go back to Kenya. And so from the age of around 11 or 12 up until I was about 20 years old, I saw my father probably once a year. So my entire formative years, I missed my father due to immigration. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't drive. I couldn't have the life that I wanted to have. And I had it easier compared to some of the people whose stories are being shared today. But, you know, thank God I was able to get a green card in 2017. And things finally changed. But before I left, I had to leave school. I had a whole life. I couldn't go back to the same life. I couldn't go back to college. I couldn't catch up. I was gone for over a month. It was hard. My mother spent 12 years without my father, raising 3 kids on her own, trying to make ends meet, teaching, feeding people, being a superwoman. My father spent 12 years without all of us, you know, and I still struggle with my identity to this day, being too Kenyan in America, for the American government, for the police, for my teachers. It doesn't matter whether you're a criminal or whether you have 2 PhDs like my mom, whether you have a PhD like my father. It doesn't matter. They don't care. You know, it doesn't matter that you're pre-law at W&J. It doesn't matter that you did research at the university in high school. It doesn't matter about your intellect. They don't see your intellect. They just see your skin. They see your papers or lack thereof. But I keep my crystals charged. They my spiritual coat. Religious victims is bound by the spiritual ropes that conquerors watered down and inscripted in code with promises of a crown and residual hope. After slashing the village town, it's an axe to the throat. That's how they did us when immigration wasn't a thing. When they stormed borders, when Britain colonized my country, and we just gained our independence in '63. You know, immigration wasn't an issue then. Immigration wasn't an issue when a whole native people are dead. They're gone. Immigration hasn't been an issue then. Immigration clearly is not an issue now. So I'm not saying I have the solutions. I'm just saying we need new solutions. We need new ones. So I want to shed a light on a few things before I give you guys a little piece of my art, piece of my heart, piece of my mind. There's refugees in Northview Heights. There's refugees in Lawrenceville. There's refugees from Africa, real refugees, not students coming to study. Refugees from war, refugees from terrible conditions that came to America. And now there's a whole generation of kids like me who go home and they speak their native language, whether it's Kirundi, whether it's Swahili, you know, and then they have to go out and they're in the hood and they have to speak slang. Then they go to the classroom and they have to speak proper English. And then they have to go to a white space, to a job interview, and they have to speak even more proper English. And they constantly have to change their hats and wear different hats in order to fit. I was worried I had to cut my locks before I went to work here. I was worried about so many things. I'm constantly having to worry. Am I going to be in trouble for being an immigrant? Am I going to be in trouble for being a black man? Am I going to be in trouble for rapping or for slang or for hood or for anything? But there's refugees just like me who are growing up having to understand this entire system that they're in, and they're only getting a piece of that brutality. So I thank all of you for being here, and I hope you enjoy this piece. My Uncle Ben taught me like Peter Parker. December 3rd, 07, he died. It turned me to a monster. 3 months later, immigration, they took my papa. My mother, she struggled to feed her only son and daughters. Reverend Denning, the preacher, he kept me on my rocker. Took me and my sisters to school and gave us plenty dollars. My parents found out and they really hollered, but it still pales in comparison to the lessons that he taught us. He showed me the history of his fathers, Greek, Hebrew, Latin, how all of the Romans conquered. All the fraud and Mr. Columbus's Indigamas used the sword to spread a curriculum based on slaughter. The Bible, Babylon, the Quran, and the Torah. His excavations and dissertations, he was a scholar, verbatim. Victor, you need to beware of caucus. They've been exploitating on backs of the people darker. Regardless, my parents' intuition, it was flawless. They trusted him with all us. Me and Meg Vacation flew to his home in Indiana. His mother, she's an angel. She aged with grace as a farmer. Homemade ice cream, fresh blueberry cobbler. As I'm writing this scene, my mouth is getting watered. I hate to cut the movie short, I'm sorry. I have to ruin pretty nostalgics. I had to give his eulogy before he saw me to college. I know what some of my people are thinking, so let me call it. He's not my white savior, just cared enough to give knowledge. For starters, Samson and Jesus hair like some rastas. Consistency of wool probably mean that your hair is locked up. I gotta explain the color of skin of copper. Moses, he was raised in the ways of Egyptian shamans. I learned from Mama Dana, she made me a spirit doctor. Told me not to care about the judgment for smoking ganja. Showed me meditations that heal me of all my trauma. I say that to say that you better address me proper. I'm a true uncommon, Tut Ankh-Amun, Nilotic Nefertiti godson. And I'm from the original stock that Europeans robbed from. Mama Nim Jalua and my daddy Nim Kamba. Real rival tribes, not Wakanda. The blood in my veins is the same as Lupita's and Obama's. Assalamu alaikum's the mantra, and it's all peace. But if you reach, we get it cracking like Osama. Partner, thank you.